Chapter 7. The Man Who Disliked Cats. It was Harold who first made us acquainted when I was dining one night at the Café Britannique in Soho. It is a peculiarity of the Café Britannique that you always find flies there, even in the winter. Snow was falling that night as I turned in at the door, but glancing about me I noticed several of the old faces. My old acquaintance, Percy the Bluebottle, looking wonderfully fit despite his years, was doing deep breathing exercises on a mutton cutlet, and was too busy to do more than pause for a moment to nod at me. But his cousin Harold, always active, sighted me and bustled up to do the honours. He'd finished his game of touch last with my right ear, and was circling slowly in the air while he thought out other ways of entertaining me, when there was a rush of air, a swish of napkin, and no more Harold. I turned to thank my preserver, whose table adjoined mine. He was a Frenchman, a melancholy-looking man. He had the appearance of one who was searching for the leak in life's gas-pipe with a lighted candle, of one whom the clenched fist of fate had smitten beneath the temperamental third waistcoat button. He waved my thanks aside. "It was a bagatelle," he said. He became friendly. He moved to my table, and we fraternized over our coffee. Suddenly he became agitated. He kicked at something on the floor. His eyes gleamed angrily. "Psst!" he hissed. "Va-t'en!" I looked around the corner of the table and perceived the restaurant cat in dignified retreat. "You do not like cats?" I said. "I hate all animals, monsieur. Cats especially." He frowned. He seemed to hesitate. "I will tell you my story," he said. "You will sympathize. You have a sympathetic face. It is the story of a man's tragedy. It is the story of a blighted life. It is the story of a woman who would not forgive. It is the story of—" "Excuse me, I've got an appointment at 11, I said. He nodded absently, drew at his cigarette, and began. "I have conceived my hatred of animals, monsieur, many years ago in Paris. Animals are to me a symbol for the lost dreams of youth, for ambitions foiled, for artistic impulses cruelly stifled. You are astonished. You ask why I say these things. I shall tell you. I am in Paris, young, ardent, artistic. I wish to paint pictures. I have the genius, the enthusiasm. I wish to be disciple of the great Bouguereau. But no, I am dependent for support upon an uncle. He is rich. He is proprietor of the great hotel Jules Priaulx. My name is also Priaulx. He is not sympathetic. I say, 'Uncle, I have the genius, the enthusiasm. Permit me to paint.' He shakes his head. He says, 'I will give you position in my hotel, and you shall earn your living.' What choice? I weep, but I kill my dreams, and I become cashier at my uncle's hotel at a salary of 35 francs a week. I, the artist, become a machine for the changing of money at a damn bad salary. What would you? What choice? I am dependent. I go to the hotel, and there I learn to hate all animals, cats especially. I will tell you the reason. My uncle's hotel is fashionable hotel. Rich Americans, rich Maharajas, rich people of every nation come to my uncle's hotel. They come, and with them they have brought their pets. Monsieur, it was the existence of a nightmare. Wherever I have looked there are animals. Listen, there is an Indian prince. He has with him 2 dromedaries. There is also one other Indian prince. With him is a giraffe. The giraffe drink every day 1 dozen best champagne to keep his coat good. I, the artist, have my Bach, and my coat is not good. There is a guest with a young lion. There is a guest with an alligator. But especially there is a cat. He is fat. His name is Alexander. He belongs to an American woman. She is fat. She exhibits him to me. He is wrapped in a silk and fur creation like an opera cloak. Every day she exhibits him. It is Alexander this and Alexander that, till I hate Alexander very much. I hate all the animals, but especially Alexander. And so, monsieur, it goes on, day by day. In this hotel that is a zoological garden. And every day I hate the animals the more, but especially Alexander. We artists, monsieur, we are martyrs to our nerves. It became insupportable, this thing. Each day it became more insupportable. At night I dream of all the animals, one by one, the giraffe, the two dromedaries, the young lion, the alligator, and Alexander, especially Alexander. You have heard of men who cannot endure the society of a cat, how they cry out and jump in the air if a cat is among those present, eh? Your Lord Roberts? Precisely, monsieur. I have read so much. Listen, then. I am become by degrees almost like him. I do not cry out and jump in the air when I see the cat Alexander, but I grind my teeth and I hate him. Yes, I am the sleeping volcano, and one morning, monsieur, I have suffered the eruption. It is like this. I shall tell you. Not only at that time am I the martyr to my nerves, but also to toothache. That morning I have had the toothache very bad. I have been in pain the most terrible. I groan as I add up the figures in my book. As I groan, I hear a voice. Say good morning to Monsieur Priot, Alexander. Conceive my emotions, monsieur, when this fat, beastly cat is placed before me upon my desk. It puts a cover upon it. No, that is not the phrase. The lid. It put the lid upon it. All my smothered hatred of the animal burst forth. I could no longer conceal my hatred. I rose. I was terrible. I seized him by the trail. I flung him. I did not know where. I did not care. Not then. Afterwards, yes, but not then. Your Longfellow has a poem. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. And then he has found it, the arrow in the heart of a friend. Am I right? Also was that the tragedy with me. I flung the cat Alexander. My uncle, on whom I am dependent, is passing at the moment. He has received the cat in the middle of his face. My companion, with the artist's instinct for the curtain, paused. He looked round the brightly lit restaurant. From every side rose the clatter of knife and fork, and the clear, sharp note of those who drank soup. In a distant corner, a small waiter with a large voice was calling the cook names through the speaking tube. It was a cheerful scene, but it brought no cheer to my companion. He sighed heavily and resumed. I hurry over that painful scene. There is a blooming row. My uncle is hot-tempered man. The cat is heavy cat. I have thrown him very hard. For my nerves and my toothache and my hatred have given me the giant strength. Alone is this enough to enrage my hot-tempered uncle. I am there in his hotel, you will understand, as cashier, not as cat-thrower. And now, beside all this, I have insulted the valuable patron. She have left the hotel that day. There are no doubts in my mind as to the outcome. With certainty I wait my congé. And after painful scene I get it. I am to go at once. He have assured the angry American that I go at once. He has called me into his private office. Jean, he has said to me, at the end of other things, you are a fool, dolt, no good imbecile. I give you good place in my hotel, and you spend your time flinging cats. I will have no more of you. Even now I cannot forget that you are my dear brother's child, though. I will now give you 1,000 francs and never see you again. I have thanked him, for to me it is wealth. Not before have I ever had 1,000 francs of my own. I go out of the hotel, I go to a cafe and order a bock, I smoke a cigarette. It is necessary that I think out plans. Shall I, with my 1,000 francs, rent a studio in the quarter and commence my life as artist? No. I have still the genius, the enthusiasm, but I have not the training. To train myself to paint pictures, I must study long, and even 1,000 francs will not last forever. Then what shall I do? I do not know. I order one other box, smoke more cigarettes, but still I do not know. And then I say to myself, I will go back to my uncle and plead with him. I will seize favourable opportunity. I will approach him after dinner when he is in his good temper, but for that I must be close at hand. I must be, what is your expression, Johnny on the spot. My mind is made up. I have my plan. I have gone back to my uncle's hotel, and have engaged not too expensive bedroom. My uncle does not know. He still is in his private office. I secure my room. I dine cheaply that night, but I go to the theatre and also to supper after the theatre, for have I not my 1,000 francs? It is late when I reach my bedroom. I go to bed. I go to sleep. But I do not sleep long. I am awakened by a voice. It is a voice that says, "Move, and I shoot. Move, and I shoot." I lie still. I do not move. I am courageous, but I am unarmed. And the voice says again, "Move, and I shoot." Is it robbers? Is it some marauder who has made his way to my room to plunder me? I do not know. Perhaps I think yes. "Who are you?" I have asked. There is no answer. I take my courage in my hands. I leap from my bed. I dash for the door. No pistol has been fired. I have reached the passage and have shouted for assistance. Hotel officials run up, doors open. "What is it?" voices cry. "There is in my room an armed robber," I assure them. And then I have found, no, I am mistaken. My door, you will understand, is open. And as I have said these words, a large green parrot comes hopping out. My assassin is nothing but a green parrot. "Move and I shoot," it has said to those gathered in the corridor. It then has bitten me in the hand and passed on. I am chagrined, monsieur, but only for a moment. Then I forget my chagrin, for a voice from a door that has opened says with joy, "It is my Polly which I have this evening lost." I turn. I gasp for admiration. It is a beautiful lady in a pink dressing gown which have spoke these words. She has looked at me. I have looked at her. I forget everything but that she is adorable. I forget those who stand by. I forget that the parrot has bitten me in the hand. I forget even that I am standing there in my pyjamas with on my feet nothing. I can only gaze at her and worship. I have found words. "Mademoiselle," I have said, "I am rejoiced that I have been the means of restoring to you your bird." She has thanked me with her eyes, and then with words also. I am bewitched. She is divine. I care not that my feet are cold. I could wish to stand there talking all night. She has given a cry of dismay. Your hand, it is wounded." I look at my hand. Yes, it is bleeding where the bird have bitten it. "Chut, mademoiselle," I have said, "it is a bagatelle." But no, she is distressed. She is what your poet Scott have said, "A ministering angel thou." She have torn her handkerchief and is binding up my wound. I am enchanted. Such beauty, such kindness. Hardly can I resist to fall on my knees before her and declare my passion. We are twin souls. She has thanked me again. She has scolded the parrot. She has smiled upon me as she retires to her room. It is enough. Nothing is said, but I am a man of sensibility and discernment, and I understand that she will not be offended if I seek to renew our friendship on a more suitable occasion. The door's shut. The guests have returned to bed, the hotel servants to their duties, and I go back to my room. But not to sleep. It is very late, but I do not sleep. I lie awake, and I think of her. You will conceive, monsieur, with what mixed feelings I descend next morning. On the one hand, I must keep the sharp lookout for my uncle, for him I must avoid till I shall have, what do you say in your idiom? Oh, yes, I have it. Simmered down and tucked in his shirt. On the other hand, I must watch for my lady of the parrot. I count the minutes till we shall meet again. I avoid my uncle with success, and I see her about the hour of déjeuner. She is talking to old gentlemen. I have bowed, she has smiled, and motioned me to approach. Father, she has said, this is the gentleman who caught Polly. We have shaken hands. He is indulgent, papa. He has smiled and thanked me also. We have confided to each other our names. He is English. He owns much land in England. He has been staying in Paris. He is rich. His name is Anderson. He addresses his daughter and calls her Marion. In my heart I also call her Marion. You will perceive that I am, as you say, pretty far gone. The hour of déjeuner has arrived. I entreat them to be my guests. I can run to it, you understand, for there are still in my pockets plenty of my uncle's francs. They consent. I am in heaven. All is well. Our friendship has progressed with marvellous speed. The old gentleman and I are swiftly the dear old pals. I have confided to him my dreams of artistic fame, and he has told me how much he dislikes your Lloyd George. He has mentioned that he and Miss Marion depart for London that day. I am desolate. My face tumbles. He has observed my despair. He has invited me to visit them in London. Imagine my chagrin. To visit them in London is the one thing I desire to do, but how? I accept gratefully, but I ask myself how it is to be done. I am poor blighter, with no profession and 900 francs. He has taken it for granted that I am wealthy. What shall I do? I spend the afternoon trying to form a plan. And then I am resolved. I will go to my uncle and say, Uncle, I have the magnificent chance to marry the daughter of a wealthy English landowner. Already I have her gratitude soon, for I am young, handsome, debonair. I shall have her love. Given me one more chance, uncle. Be decent old buck, and put up the money for this affair. These words I have resolved to say to my uncle. I go back to the hotel. I enter his private office. I reveal no secret when I say that he is not cordial. 10,000 devils, he has cried. What do you have here? I hasten to tell him all, and plead with him to be decent old buck. He does not believe. Who is he asks, this English landowner. How did I meet him, and where? I tell him. He is amazed. You have the infernal impudence to take room in my hotel, he has cried. I am crafty, I am diplomat. Where else, my dear uncle? I say, in all Paris there is no such homme from homme. The cuisine merveilleuse, the beds of rose leaves, the attendants superb. If only for one night, I have said to myself, I must stay in this of all hotels. I have, what do you say, touched the spot. And what you say, he has said more calmly, there is certainly something. It is a good hotel, this of mine. The only hotel, I have assured them. The Meurice? Shh! I snap my fingers. The Ritz? Bah! Once again I snap my fingers. In all Paris there is no hotel like this. He has simmered down. His shirt is tucked in. Tell me again this plan of yours, Jean. When I leave him, we have come to an understanding. It is agreed between us that I am to have one last chance. He will not spoil this promising ship for the Apworth of tar. He will give me money for my purpose. But he has said as we part, if I fail, his hands shall be washed of me. He cannot now forget that I am his dear brother's child. But if I fail to accomplish the conquest of the divine Miss Marian, he thinks he will be able to. It is well. A week later I follow the Andersons to London. For the next few days, monsieur, I am in paradise. My host has much nice house in Eaton Square. He is rich, popular, there is much society, and I have the succès fou. I am young, handsome, debonair. I cannot speak English very well, not so well as I now speak him, but I manage. I get along. I am intelligent, amiable. Everyone loves me. No, not everyone. Captain Bassett, he does not love me. And why? Because he loves the charming Miss Marian, and observes that already I am succeeding with her like a house on fire. He is ami de famille. He is captain of your garde écossais. And my host told me he has distinguished himself as soldier pretty much. It may be so as soldier, perhaps. But at conversation he is not so good. He is quite nice fellow, you understand. Handsome, yes. Distinguished, oh, yes. But he does not sparkle. He is not my verve, my élan. How do you say? I make the rings around him. But, shoot! At that moment, I would have made the rings round the old British Army. Yes, and also the Corps Diplomatique. For I am inspired. Love has inspired me. I am conqueror. But I will not weary you, monsieur, with the details of my wooing. You are sympathetic, but I must not weary you. Let us say that I have in 4 days or 5 made progress the most remarkable, and proceed to the tragic end. Almost I could tell it in 4 words. In them one would say that it is set forth. There was in London at that time popular song, a comic, vulgar song of the Owls, the cat came back. You have heard it? Yes, I heard it myself, and without emotion. It had no sinister warning for me. It did not strike me as an omen, yet in those 4 words, monsieur, is my tragedy. How? But I shall tell you. Every word is a sword twisted in my heart, but I shall tell you. One morning, there we were at tea. All is well. I am vivacious, gay. Miss Marian, charming, gracious. There is present also an aunt, Mr. Anderson's sister, but her I do not much notice. It is to Marian I speak, both with my lips and also with my eyes. As we sit, Captain Bassett is announced. He has entered. We have greeted each other politely but coldly, for we are rivals. There is in his manner also a something which I do not much like, a species of suppressed triumph, of elation. I am uneasy, but only yet vaguely, you will understand. I have not the foreboding that he is about to speak my death sentence. He addresses Miss Marian. There is joy in his voice. Miss Anderson, he has said, I have for you the bally good news. You will remember, isn't it, the cat belonging to the American woman in the hotel at Paris, of which you have spoken to me last night at dinner? I've been seated beside her. At first I am not certain. Is it she? Then I say that there cannot be 2 Mrs. Balderstone rock metallers in Europe. So I mention to her the cat. And to cut the long story short, I venture to purchase for you as a little present the cat Alexander. I have uttered a cry of horror, but it is not heard because of Miss Marian's cry of joy. "Oh, Captain Bassett," she has said, "how very splendid of you. Ever since I first saw him have I loved Alexander. I cannot tell you how grateful I am, but it amazes me that you should have been able to induce her to part with him. In Paris she has refused all my offers." He has paused, embarrassed. "The fact is," he has said, "there is between her and Alexander a certain coolness. He has deceived her, and she loves him no more. Immediately upon arrival in London, he had the misfortune to have 6 fine kittens. However, out of evil cometh good, and I have thus been able to secure him for you. He is downstairs in a basket." Miss Marion has rung the bell and commanded for him to be brought up instantly. I will not describe the meeting, monsieur. You are sympathetic. You will understand my feelings. Let us hurry on. Figure yourself, monsieur, to what extent I was now harassed. I am artist. I am a man of nerves. I cannot be gay, brilliant, debonair in the presence of a cat. Yet always the cat is there. It is terrible. I feel that I am falling behind in the race. Her gratitude has made her the more gracious to Captain Bassett. She smiles upon him, and, like Chanticleer at the sight of the sun, he flaps his wings and crows. He is no longer the silent listener. It is I who become the silent listener. I have said to myself that something must be done. Chance has shown me the way. One afternoon I am by fortune alone in the hall. In his cage the parrot Polly is hopping. I address him through the bars. "Move and I shoot," he has cried. The tears have filled my eyes. Oh, it has brought the old scene back to me. As I weep, I perceive the cat Alexander approaching. I have formed a plan. I have opened the cage door and released the parrot. The cat, I think, will attack the parrot of which Miss Anderson is so fond. She will love him no more. He will be expelled. He paused. I suppose my face must have lost some of its alleged sympathy as he set forth this fiendish plot. Even Percy the bluebottle seemed shocked. He had settled on the sugar bowl, but at these words he rose in a marked manner and left the table. "You do not approve?" he said. I shrugged my shoulders. "No business of mine," I said, "but don't you think yourself it was playing it a bit low down? Didn't the thought present itself to you in a shadowy way that it was rather rough on the bird?" It did, monsieur, but what would you? It is necessary to break eggs in order to make an omelette. All is fair, you say, in love and war, and this was both. Moreover, you must understand I do not dictate his movements to the parrot. He is a free agent. I do but open the cage door. Should he hop out and proceed to the floor, where is the cat? That is his affair. I shall continue, eh? Alors, I open the cage door and disappear discreetly. It is not politic that I remain to witness what shall transpire. It is for me to establish an alibi. I go to the drawing-room where I remain. At dinner that night, Mr. Anderson has laughed. In all this afternoon, he has said, I have seen by chance the dickens of a funny occurrence. That parrot of yours, Marion, had escaped once again from his cage and was having an argument with that cat which Captain Bassett has given to you. Oh, I hope that Alexander has not hurt poor Polly, of whom I am very fond, she has said. The affair did not come to blows, as said Mr. Anderson. You may trust that bird to take care of himself, my dear. When I came upon the scene, the cat was crouching in a corner with his fur bristling and his back up, while Polly, standing before him, was telling him not to move or he would shoot. Nor did he move till I had seized the parrot and replaced him in the cage, when he shot upstairs like a streak of lightning. By sheer force of character, that excellent bird had won the bloodless victory. I drink to him. You can conceive my emotion as I listen to this tale. I am like the poet's mice and men whose best kid schemes have gone away. I am baffled. I am discouraged. I do not know what I shall do. I must find another plan, but I do not know what. How shall I remove the cat? Shall I kill him? No, for I might be suspect. Shall I hire someone to steal him? No, for my accomplice might betray me. Shall I myself steal him? Ah, that is better. That is a very good plan. Soon I have it perfected, this plan. Listen, monsieur. It's as follows. It is simple, but it is good. I will await my opportunity. I will remove the cat secretly from the house. I will take him to an office of the district messenger boys. I will order a messenger to carry him at once to the cat's house, and to request Monsieur le Directeur immediately to destroy him. It is a simple plan, but it is good. I carry it through without a hitch. It is not so difficult to secure the cat. He is asleep in the drawing room. There is nobody at hand. I have in my bedroom a hat box, which I have brought from Paris. I have brought it with me to the drawing room. I have placed in it the cat. I have escaped from the house. The cat has uttered a cry, but none has heard. I have reached the office of the district messenger boys. I have handed over the cat in its box. The manager is courteous, sympathetic. A messenger has started in a cab for the cat's house. I have breathed a sigh of relief. I am saved. That is what I say to myself as I return. My troubles are over, and once more I can be gay, debonair, vivacious with Miss Marian, for no longer will there be present with a cat Alexander to harass me. When I have returned, there is commotion in the house. I pass on the stairs domestics calling, "Puss, puss, puss." The butler is chirruping loudly and poking beneath the furniture with a umbrella. All is confusion and agitation. In the drawing-room is Miss Marian. She is distressed. "Nowhere," she has said, "can there be found the cat Alexander of whom I am so fond. Nowhere in the house is he. Where can he be? He is lost." I am gentle, sympathetic. I endeavour to console her. I hint to her that I am not sufficient substitute for a beastly cat. She is, however, inconsolable. I must be patient. I must wait my time. Captain Bassett is announced. He is informed of what has happened. He is distressed. He has the air as if he, too, would endeavour to be gentle, sympathetic. But I am Johnny on the spot. I stay till he has gone. Next day again it is puss, puss, puss. Again the butler has explored under the furniture with the umbrella. Again Miss Marian is distressed. Again have I endeavoured to console. This time I think I am not so unsuccessful. I am, you understand, young, handsome, sympathetic. In another 2 ticks I am about to seize her and declare my passion. But before I can do so, Captain Bassett is announced. I gaze at him as at unsuccessful rival. I am confident. I am conqueror. Ah, I little know. It is in the moments of our highest hope, monsieur, that we are destroyed. Captain Bassett, he too has the air of the conqueror. He has begun to speak. "Miss Anderson," he has said, "I have once more the bally good news. I rather fancy that I have tracked down the missing Alexander. Do you not know him?" Miss Marian has cried out with joy, but I am calm, for is not Alexander already yesterday destroyed? "It is like this," he has resumed. "I have thought to myself, where is lost cat most likely to be? And I have answered, in the cat's house. So I go this morning to the cat's house, and there I see a cat which is either lost Alexander or his living image. Exactly is he the same as all appearances as the lost Alexander. But there is, when I try to purchase him, some curious itch which they do not explain. They must have time, they say, to consider. They cannot at once decide." "Why, what nonsense!" Miss Marian has cried. "If the cat is my cat, surely then must they return him to me. Come," he has said, "let us all 3 at once, in a taxicab, go to the cat's house. If all three of us identify the lost Alexander, then must they return him? Monsieur, I am uneasy. I have foreboding, but I go. What choice? We go in a taxicab to the cat's house. The directeur is courteous and sympathetic. He has introduced us to the cat, and my heart has turned to water, for it is Alexander. Why has he not been destroyed? The directeur is speaking. I hear him in a dream. If you identify him as your cat, miss, he has said, the matter is ended. My hesitation when you, sir, approached me this morning on the matter was due to the fact that a messenger was sent with instructions that he be destroyed at once. Rather rough, wasn't it, that, on the messenger, yes? Captain Bassett has said. He is facetious, you understand, for he is conqueror. I am silent. I am not facetious, for already I feel, how do you say, my fowl is cooked. Oh, not the messenger, sir, the director has said. You have misunderstood me. It was the cat which was to be destroyed as per instructions of the anonymous sender. Who could have played such a wicked trick? Miss Marion has asked, indignant. The director has stooped, and from behind the table he has brought a hat box. In this, he has said, the above animal was conveyed, but with it was no accompanying letter. The sender was anonymous. Perhaps, Captain Bassett has said, and still more in a dream I hear him, perhaps on the hat box there's some bally name or other. Do you not know? No, what? I clutch to the table. The room is spinning round and round. I have no stomach, only emptiness. Why, bless me, the director has said. You're quite right. Yes, sir. So there is. Funny of me not to have before observed it. There is a name and also an address. It is the name of Jean Préault, and the address is the Hotel Jules Préault in Paris. My companion stopped abruptly. He passed a handkerchief over his forehead. With a quick movement he reached for his glass of liqueur brandy and drained it at a gulp. Monsieur, he said, you will not wish me to describe the scene? There is no need for me, to be Zola-esque. You can imagine? She chucked you in a moment of emotion. It is the simplest language that comes to the lips. He nodded. And married Captain Bassett? He nodded again. And your uncle? I said. How did he take it? He sighed. There was once more a blooming row, monsieur. He washed his hands of you? Well, not altogether. He was angry, but he gave me one more chance. I am still his dear brother's child, and he cannot forget it. An acquaintance of his, a man of letters, a Monsieur Paul Sartine, was in need of a secretary. The post was not well paid, but it was permanent. My uncle insists that I take it. What choice? I took it. It is the post which I still hold. He ordered another liqueur brandy and gulped it down. The name is familiar to you? You have heard of Monsieur Sartines? No, I don't think I have. Who is he? He is a man of letters, a savant. For 5 years he has been occupied upon a great work. It is with that I assist him by collecting facts for his use. I've spent this afternoon in the British Museum collecting facts. Tomorrow I go again, and the next day, and again after that. The book will occupy yet another 10 years before it is completed. It is his great work. It sounds as if it was, I said. What's it about? He signalled to the waiter. Garçon. One other liqueur brandy. The book, monsieur, is a history of the cat in ancient Egypt. End of chapter 7, The Man Who Disliked Cats. Recording by Mike Harris.